Welcome. Like and subscribe for more of the most disturbing dark web stories on YouTube. As always, viewer discretion is advised. A gentle reminder that all stories are available on my podcast. The Curator, Dark Web Horror Anthology, is available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Without further ado, today's story, The Skin Commission, by the Curator. Hey, Reddit. I'm typing this one-handed on my phone because my right arm is zip-tied to a steel table and the blood loss is making the screen swim. If this post disappears or I stop updating, it's because they found the laptop. I'm not asking for help. I'm past that. I just need to get this out before the next incision. Maybe someone reading this will think twice before they ever type Flesh Forge into Tor. I'm 34, live alone now in a shitty 2-bedroom walk-up in a suburb outside Sydney, and work remote as a mid-level developer for a logistics company that builds software to track shipping containers across ports. It sounds more interesting than it is. My days were mostly stand-ups, Jira tickets, fixing ugly bits of code other people wrote, and pretending to care about quarterly roadmap meetings. I wasn't some dangerous guy. I wasn't a criminal mastermind. I wasn't even particularly tough. I paid my mortgage on time, bought decent coffee beans I couldn't really afford, ordered too much Uber Eats, and kept telling myself I'd get back into shape next Monday. I used to think I had a normal life. Boring, maybe, but normal in the safe sort of way people tell themselves is enough. Work, dinner, Netflix, some gaming on weekends, the occasional pub night. I had routines. I had plans. I had a future that felt dull in a comforting way, like everything ahead of me had already been gently mapped out. And then I met Kayla. We'd been together 4 years, engaged for the last 14 months. She was the kind of person who made every room feel warmer when she walked into it, or at least that's what I used to tell people. She had this easy laugh that made strangers trust her within minutes. She worked in marketing, was better with people than I ever was, and somehow managed to make my awkward silences seem charming instead of pathetic. She was the one who pushed things forward. She wanted the wedding. She wanted the guest list sorted early. She wanted to lock in the venue in the Blue Mountains before prices went up. She wanted a real future, or at least that's what I thought. She picked the florist. She picked the table settings. She made spreadsheets for the seating plan. She chose our first dance song, Iris by Goo Goo Dolls. I remember making fun of her for how cheesy it was, and her telling me to shut up because every wedding needs one moment where people embarrass themselves by crying in public. She said it while half smiling and adjusting one of those little swatches of fabric for bridesmaid dresses. I remember watching her and thinking I was lucky, like unbelievably lucky. Like somehow I had stumbled into a life I didn't deserve but would spend the rest of my life trying to protect. There were signs, obviously. There are always signs when you look back. Late nights, extra weekends away, the phone angled away from me, the occasional dead look in her eyes when I talked about boring domestic things, like mortgage rates, or whether we should repaint the spare room before kids. But that's the thing about trust. Once you've built enough of it, your brain starts working for the other side. Every strange detail gets explained away. Every odd gap gets filled in with the version that hurts least. I found out by accident. I'd been meant to stay in Melbourne another day for a work conference. A keynote speaker canceled at the last minute. The afternoon sessions got shuffled, and I figured I'd surprise Kayla by coming home early. I even bought one of those stupid little dessert boxes she liked from that place near the airport. I was in a weirdly good mood. Tired, but good. The kind of mood where the future feels stable. I got home at 2:17 on a Tuesday. I still remember the exact time because I looked at the microwave clock in the kitchen after it happened, and for some reason, that number welded itself into my skull. Our bedroom door was half open. I heard a laugh first. Hers, low, breathy, intimate. Then a man's voice. I knew it instantly. Marcus, my best friend since university. The guy who helped me move into 3 separate apartments. The guy who stood next to me through breakups, through my dad's surgery scare, through every stupid milestone of adult life. He was the first person I called when I got engaged. He was meant to be one of my groomsmen. I kicked the door open and found her riding him on our bed, not fumbling, not some drunken mistake, not panic and confusion. They were comfortable, practiced. They had that horrible ease people only get when they've done something enough times that it stops feeling forbidden. She looked over her shoulder at me, and there wasn't even terror there at first. Just irritation at being interrupted. It hadn't just happened once. It had been going on for 14 months. They admitted that part later. 14 months. Videos on a shared Google Drive. Weekends in Byron Bay while I thought she was visiting her sister. Inside jokes. Secret little comments about me. She told me they used to laugh about how I was the safe choice. The stable one. The one who paid the bills. Never yelled. Never caused problems. A placeholder man for a more convenient life. What really broke something inside me wasn't just that I found them. It was the way she spoke after. She didn't cry, didn't beg, didn't even cover herself properly. She just climbed off him, wiped sweat from her forehead, and said, "We were going to tell you after the wedding deposits cleared. Figured you'd be easier to manage once the money was sunk." Marcus actually smirked. The next day, after I'd spent the night smashing plates and screaming myself half hoarse and drinking until paramedics had to drag me out, he sent me a dick pic from her phone with the caption, "Better luck next lifetime, bro." I ended up in hospital for 2 days. Alcohol poisoning, dehydration, a fractured knuckle from punching the wall hard enough to crack plaster. People talk about heartbreak like it's sadness. That's not what it felt like. It felt like infection. It felt like something black and hot had gotten into my bloodstream and started moving through me, turning every thought poisonous. When they discharged me, everyone expected the usual things. Therapy, time, family, block their numbers and move on. But the rage didn't fade. It changed shape. At first it was loud. Then it got cold. Precise, surgical. I didn't want her dead. That's the truth that makes me sicker than anything now. Death felt too merciful back then. Too quick. Too clean. I wanted her to feel stripped open the way I had been stripped open. I wanted humiliation, exposure, helplessness. I wanted her to know exactly why it was happening and exactly who had ordered it. That's how I found Flesh Forge. I'd heard vague stories before, the same way everyone who spends enough time online has heard vague stories. Dark web red rooms, pay to watch torture streams, commissioned violence, 99% urban legend, scams, or staged garbage. Even when people swear something is real, it's usually some recycled gore clip with a crypto wallet pasted underneath. But once the thought got into my head, it stayed there. I started small, Tor browser, onion directories, dread threads, dead links, Scam markets pretending to sell hits, acid attacks, kidnappings, everything under the sun. Most of it was laughably fake if you stayed calm long enough to look. Terrible user interface, broken escrow systems, artificial intelligence generated threat copy, reused videos from cartel leaks and war footage, pretenders feeding on people who were drunk, angry, stupid, or all three. I was all three. For 3 weeks, I went deeper, past the obvious boards, past the gore collectors and the wannabe psychopaths, into invite-only places you only found mentioned in reply chains, buried under other reply chains. Forums with stripped-down designs and almost no branding, where everyone talked in euphemisms because the ones who didn't usually vanished. There was a strange professionalism to some of them, like niche private communities for the worst people alive. One night, around 3 a.m, on day 21 of barely sleeping and living on whiskey, painkillers and caffeine, I found a thread titled "Real Commissions Only, No LARPing." Buried in it was a link. The landing page was minimalist. Pure black background. Crisp white text. No flashing gore thumbnails. No tacky skull icons. Just this. Flesh Forge. Commissioned art since 2019. Real skin. Real time. Real finality. Bitcoin only. 72-hour guarantee or full refund plus subject delivered to your doorstep. I remember staring at that last line for a long time. It read like a joke and a threat at the same time. I almost closed the tab. I should have. Instead, I clicked apply. The vetting process was brutal. Scan driver's license front and back. A live video holding that day's newspaper. Voice sample. A handwritten phrase they provided to prove I was real. Then, a written essay. 500 words, minimum, explaining why I deserved to become a client. I thought it was sick theater at first, but they clearly cross-checked everything. My ID, public records, socials, facial markers, metadata on uploaded files. There was an intelligence to it that made my skin crawl. They were filtering out cops, trolls, and fantasists. So I wrote the truth. Not the soft version. The ugliest version. I wrote about Kayla. About Marcus. About coming home early. About the videos. About how she laughed when I broke. About the ultrasound photo she'd shown me 2 months earlier, smiling through fake tears, letting me think we were grieving together after a miscarriage. Only for me to later realize Marcus had probably been the father the whole time. I attached photos. Wedding dress, fitting. Both of us at my 30th birthday. Her asleep on the couch with my hoodie on. The ultrasound printout. All the normal life stuff that turns monstrous once you know the lie under it. They approved me in 4 hours. Username, Canvas owner. Even then, I thought the name was just part of the site's pretentious little artist aesthetic. I even laughed when I saw it. That stupid, shaky kind of laugh people do when they know something is wrong but keep going anyway. The marketplace itself was polished in a way that made it worse. It looked like a high-end boutique platform. Search filters, category tiles, profiles, ratings, completion history, commission menus. It felt like Etsy run by monsters. Flaying, acid work, power tool symphonies, organ origami. Each artisan had a profile page. Some used fake names like characters out of horror novels. Others were almost corporate. There were star ratings out of 5, Reviews, blurred preview stills, notes on specialty and style. Sick people leaving cheerful feedback like they were reviewing wedding photographers. The Butcher of Bucharest specialized in 19th century vivisection recreations with antique tool replicas. Skin Poet did precision scar scripts. Someone called Choirboy made victims sing hymns while being mutilated. I scrolled for hours in a trance, like I'd fallen through reality into a parallel internet that ran on pure evil and customer satisfaction metrics. Then I found Echo. 4.98 stars, 47 completed commissions. Signature move listed as forced facial flaying with mirrored viewer integration. Bioline, symmetry is everything. Your pain becomes theirs, or theirs becomes yours. I should have seen it. But by then, my brain was locked onto revenge so hard it couldn't process warning signs anymore. Everything on the page felt like it was speaking directly to the worst version of me. Echo's commission system was efficient. Upload target photos. Add optional voice clips. Add personal script notes. Choose tool preferences. Payment in stages. 40% upfront. 30% on first blood draw. 30% on delivery of final file. No refunds after 24 hours. I wired 2.8 Bitcoin. Everything I had left. Sold my watch. Drained accounts. Maxed cards. I told myself I was buying justice. That once it was done, I'd feel clean again. Then I spent 3 days writing the script. That part disgusts me most now. Not because I was angry, because I was meticulous, thoughtful. I revised it like it mattered, like I was writing specs for a software project. I polished wording. I adjusted sequence. I made sure it hurt in ways that felt symbolically correct. I made it personal. Begin with eyelids. Lidocaine optional but minimal. Client wants her to feel the sting and stay awake. Use curved surgical scissors. Cut slowly so she can see the first strip fall onto her chest. No anesthesia above the neck. Then facial flaying. Start at the hairline. Peel downward in one continuous sheet. Keep the ears attached if possible. She must recite, "I betrayed the only man who ever loved me," every 30 seconds, or the artisan may improvise. Mid-torso, acid etching of the word whore across the stomach using concentrated hydrofluoric acid. Let it bubble and eat. Final act. Open the abdomen. Remove intestines intact. Arrange on the table in the shape of a broken heart. Subject must remain alive and aware until the last loop is placed. End with close-up of her eyes while she watches the heart beat its final time. Include audio of her voice begging for mercy. Amplify it. I attached every photo I had of Kayla. Her smiling in her wedding dress. Her asleep beside me. Her laughing with cake on her nose at my birthday dinner. The ultrasound printout. Then I hit submit commission. Confirmation came instantly. Echo has accepted. 72-hour clock starts now. Live preview link will be emailed to your Onion address in T-3 hours. Enjoy the art. I spent the next few hours pacing my apartment like an animal in a trap. The place looked wrecked by then. Dishes in the sink, empty bottles on the counter, curtains shut, laptop open on the dining table like some black altar. My whole world had narrowed down to the countdown timer glowing on that dashboard. At 2 hours and 58 minutes, the preview link arrived. I clicked it. The video opened on a familiar face. Kayla. She was naked, strapped, spread eagle, to a stainless steel autopsy table in what looked like an abandoned slaughterhouse somewhere in an industrial zone. Rusted meat hooks overhead, concrete floors with blood gutters, fluorescent tubes buzzing. It looked almost too cinematic at first, and that scared me in its own way, because it meant this wasn't some basement improvisation. They had staging, lighting, process. Her eyes were wild, mascara all over her cheeks. She was crying hard enough that her whole chest shuddered against the restraints. A black, masked figure in surgical scrubs stood beside her with gloved hands resting on a tray of tools. The mask had a crude white smile, spray painted across it. A message popped up in the live chat sidebar. Client, confirm script is acceptable before we begin. My hands were shaking so badly I mistyped twice before replying. Perfect. Make it slow. The first cut was exactly as I'd ordered. Curved surgical scissors sliding beneath her left eyelid. The sound came through my headphones in disgusting high definition. Wet, soft, precise. Her scream hit a pitch that didn't sound human for a second, then cracked. I felt something surge through me so dark and ugly that even now I don't fully know what to call it. Triumph, maybe. Vindication, power. It was all poison. I watched the entire eyelid sequence, then the other one. I watched her sob and convulse and try to pull away against restraints that didn't move an inch. I watched Echo work with calm patience while she begged the camera, the room, God. He zoomed in close enough that I could see the exposed wet shine of the eye beneath. At some point, I jerked off to it. Twice. Then I sat there afterward, feeling hollow and sick, and still didn't close the feed. That's the thing I need people to understand, if anyone is still reading this and thinks they'd be different. Once you let yourself cross certain lines in your own head, the next line gets easier. Then the next. Soon you're sitting in a trashed apartment watching the woman you were going to marry get butchered live, and you still don't stop. By hour 48, I hadn't slept in days. The feed stayed on constantly. Sometimes in the foreground, sometimes small in a corner while I pretended to answer work messages. People from my team kept pinging me, asking if I was okay because I hadn't joined stand-up and kept pushing broken code. I ignored them. Kayla was still alive somehow. The face peel had started. Echo was horrifyingly skilled. He made a Y incision down her scalp so clean the blood almost held back at first, like the body hadn't realized what was happening yet. Then he rolled the skin downward in one continuous sheet, exactly as I'd specified. You could see the muscles of her cheeks underneath, the raw mechanics of expression. She kept trying to say the line I'd written, but her mouth was too swollen and broken from screaming. I started feeling sick then. Not guilt, exactly. More like the moment a drug wears off and you realize what room you're in. The high was gone. All that was left was reality. But I still didn't stop it. When the final payment window opened, I sent the remaining 30% immediately. A few minutes later, the delivery file arrived. Commission complete Canvasona final.mkv. I clicked play, expecting closure. The video opened in the same slaughterhouse. Kayla was still strapped down, but the work was already finished. Face peeled, abdomen open, intestines arranged into the broken heart shape just like I'd ordered. Only something felt wrong. The camera angle. It was too familiar somehow. The frame drifted slowly left. Echo's gloved hands entered shot. On the left wrist, where the glove cuff rode up slightly, I saw a watch. My watch. The cheap Seiko with the cracked crystal. The one I'd sold. The one with forever engraved on the back. Everything inside me dropped. Echo looked into the camera and spoke through a voice modulator. Client wanted full immersion. You're the canvas now. Then the camera whipped around. My apartment. My desk. My own face on screen through my own webcam. For a second, my brain completely failed to process it. It just refused. The angles lined up too perfectly. The clutter on the table. The mug ring on the desk. The cheap lamp in the corner. My own horrified expression. Then I saw my right arm, zip-tied to the chair. I don't remember when they came in. I must have passed out from exhaustion and booze sometime after the face peel. I'd left the window cracked for air. There'd been so many hours where I was barely conscious. Any one of them would have been enough. The live chat exploded. Hundreds of usernames. Some I recognized from the forum. Others new. All losing their minds over the twist. Holy shit, the client is the subject. Best meta commission ever. This is premium symmetry. Worth every sat. Echo stepped into frame behind me. This time, the mask was off. He looked normal. That's the worst part. He looked like some guy who'd work in information technology support or help you pick a router at JB Hi-Fi. Brown hair, clear skin, friendly eyes, a faint scar on his jaw. Nothing theatrical, nothing monstrous, just ordinary. He held my phone up to my face, unlocked to the contract page. There, buried in the fine print I never read, was the line. By commissioning a work of art, the client agrees to become eligible as subject material should the artisan deem narrative symmetry artistically necessary. Full immersion package selected. I tried to scream, but there was already a gag in my mouth. My own sock. Sweat soaked. You wrote such a beautiful script, he whispered. It would be a shame not to experience it from the other side. The first incision was exactly as I had described. Curved surgical scissors under my left eyelid. The pain was immediate and impossible. Not sharp the way movies make it look. More like a burst of white static through my whole skull. I felt the delicate membrane give way with little wet snips. Blood flooded my vision. I thrashed so hard the chair scraped across the floor. Echo's voice stayed calm. Client insisted on no anesthesia above the neck. We honor the vision. I watched the strip of my own eyelid fall onto my chest. My exposed eyeball felt wrong instantly. Too cold. Too dry. Every attempted blink dragged across it like sand. The chat went insane. People tipped crypto in real time. Someone offered an extra half Bitcoin if he made me recite the betrayal line while he peeled my face. Echo laughed softly and said audience participation keeps the art alive. Then he started the Y incision at my hairline. The scalpel was so sharp I mostly felt pressure at first, followed by warmth. Then the warm line became multiple lines. Then I could feel skin separating, lifting. The air in my apartment touched places air should never touch. I could smell blood, metal, stale coffee, and something chemical from his supplies. I tried to say I was sorry. It came out strangled and useless through the gag. He patted my raw cheek. Too late for that, canvas owner. You wanted her to feel every second. Now you get to feel every second. The acid came next. He painted the letters over my stomach, exactly the way I'd ordered them done to her. For a split second, it only tingled. Then the burn hit properly, and it was beyond anything language is good for. Heat and corrosion, and the sick knowledge that something was actively eating its way down through me. I screamed until I felt my throat tear. I blacked out. When I came back, everything had shifted. The desk lamp had been moved closer. Plastic sheets were taped down. My torso was open. I could see too much of myself. Wet loops of intestine glistening under yellow light. Echo working with obscene patience as he lifted and arranged them into the broken heart shape I had designed for someone else. Every pull from inside me created this awful, deep internal sensation, less like pain and more like being unmade, like someone had found the hidden knots that held my body together and was undoing them one by one. And the stream kept going. Thousands of viewers by then. Someone had clipped the exact second I realized it was me and turned it into a GIF. Donations pouring in. Commentators treating it like some legendary performance piece. Then, somehow, they showed Kayla. Picture in picture, in the corner. Her face destroyed, eyes exposed, somehow still alive long enough to watch me. She looked at me through the feed, and for 1 second, I swear she smiled. Not happily, not cruelly, just a broken little expression that said she finally understood what kind of man I'd become. Echo leaned into frame, holding the last loop of my small intestine like a conductor's baton. Final act, he said brightly. Client's own script. Make sure you watch the heartbeat its last time. He placed the final piece. My vision started tunneling after that. Pain became distant and huge at the same time, like hearing the ocean inside your skull. I could feel my heart doing something frantic and uneven in my chest, while too much of me sat outside my body. I managed to type the first part of this with my left hand and voice to text between blackouts. The laptop slid to the floor at some point. Blood got under the keys. The screen kept dimming and waking. I don't know how coherent any of this is anymore. If you're still reading, don't go looking for Flesh Forge. Don't romanticize revenge. Don't ever think the person paying is safe from becoming part of the product. They always flip the canvas. I could hear Echo humming behind me then. Something cheerful. Took me a moment to realize it sounded like Iris. Our wedding song. Then he picked up the bone saw. It all went black. For some reason, possibly hours later, I woke up. I'm still alive. I genuinely don't know how. He cauterized some of the major bleeders with a handheld torch, so I'd stay conscious for what he called the grand finale. The smell of my own flesh cooking is in everything now. In my mouth, in the back of my nose, in the van upholstery, in the memory of the room. I can see my own face. Literally, my face peeled and set up on the table like a prop. He put my eyelids back on it as a joke, propped it up on a stand made from my old coffee mug. The stupid mug I got in Secret Santa 2 years ago with a badly printed joke about programmers and caffeine. The chat loved it. Meta symmetry, they called it. Someone tipped another 0.3 Bitcoin just for the composition. That's what broke me more than the pain for a while. Not the mutilation, the casualness. The fact that my life, my apartment, my body, the objects I touched every day, had all become set dressing for strangers. My home had been turned into a gallery. He's making me watch Kayla's final moments on my second monitor while he works. They recorded everything after the preview ended. She died saying my name, not screaming it, not cursing me, just saying it in this weak, confused voice, like she still couldn't understand how I'd allowed this to happen. Maybe part of her still thought I'd stop it. Maybe part of me thought I would too, right until the point I didn't. Over and over. That's going to be the last thing in my head when I die. Not the pain, not the sound of the saw. Her voice, confused, hurt, human. I'm sorry, Kayla. I'm so fucking sorry. You betrayed me, and I turned into something worse. That doesn't cancel anything. It just means we both drowned, and I dragged us deeper. The power just went out in the building. For one insane second, I thought maybe that was it. Maybe darkness would stop this. Maybe neighbors would notice. Maybe the stream would die and he'd panic. Echo just laughed and said, "Backup generator in the van." He transferred me onto a folding gurney he must have brought with him from the start. That means he planned the apartment stage as only part of the show. He always knew there'd be a mobile ending. He always knew delivery mattered. The stream stayed live on a hotspot. I saw the chat message before we left the apartment, shipping the completed canvas to the original target's family. Full circle art. 72-hour. Guarantee met early. I think I threw up then, or tried to. There wasn't much left in me. Just blood and strings of spit and this dry choking sound. He's driving. I'm in the back of the van tied to a gurney. My own intestines are in a cooler beside me, still arranged in that fucking heart shape, packed in ice so they stay fresh. The bone saw is on the floor, idling every now and then when the van hits bumps, rattling like an animal trying to wake up. Through the gaps in the rear doors I can see streetlights strobing past. Orange smears through blood and tears. Every turn throws pain through me in waves. The whole van smells like fuel, metal, antiseptic, and opened meat. A few minutes ago, he looked back at me from the driver's seat and said, almost conversationally, "Client wanted delivery, guaranteed within 72 hours. We're early. Her parents deserve to see the full installation." That's where we're going. Kayla's parents' house in the northern beaches. I know that street. I've parked there for Christmas lunches. I've stood in their kitchen drinking beer with her dad while her mom asked if we'd thought about children. There's a jacaranda out front that drops purple petals over the driveway in spring. A little brass number fixed crooked beside the mailbox. Family photos all through the hallway. Warm lights. The kind of home that smells like roast chicken and hand soap and safe, boring suburban life. And I'm about to arrive there as a package. That's the final symmetry, I think. Not just punishing me. Not just punishing Kayla. Spilling the horror outward onto everyone attached to us. Turning one betrayal into a contagion. I keep trying to stay conscious because some part of me still thinks maybe if I keep typing, I remain a person a little longer. Not just an object in transit. Not just a finished piece. But I can hear the bone saw starting up again. Please, if you are reading this, stay off the dark web. Don't go looking for secret justice. Don't tell yourself your pain makes you different from the monsters who sell it. The truth is worse. They don't need to recruit you. They just need to let you bring your own cruelty to their doorstep, dressed up as grief. I thought I was commissioning punishment. I was commissioning a mirror. And now I'm hearing my own script come back to me in perfect detail, in perfect sound, in perfect 4K clarity, while the van carries me toward the house where her parents will open the door and see what revenge really looks like when it's finished. God forgive me. I never should have commissioned the art. This is the Curator. I hope you've enjoyed today's scary story. Until next time.